Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. Maybe going soon with hubby. He had an appointment this morning, so we're gonna go ahead and get started and see if he makes his way in here. Hey Sheila, hey David, glad you could join us. So today we are gonna work on, well, first of all, let's try that again. First of all, I did some more blocking in. It is still blocking in. I haven't adjusted any of the darks yet, but today we're going to work on the longer feathers. Now, for mine, I've cut in or cropped in closer, so I don't have the long feathers like the members do on their pattern, but we can still discuss it and get the gist of it. For some reason, I'm trying to get my, oh, that's what that is. There we go. Now I got my screen bigger. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me get to my photos. Nope, not that one. There we go. I'm going to turn this one off. And we will get started. So I'm going to get started with the... Looking at it. We're going to go ahead and start with the 18 small Optima. And we are going to get started at 2.5. Don't forget to clean your tips. Just as a quick reminder how to do that. This is a leather strap. Hey Andrea. The white on it is aluminum oxide. I use powder. This is the stuff that I like. It's going to last me forever. I'll never have to buy it again. Now, if your tips are dull, that means they need to be cleaned. If you find that you're having to raise your heat in order to get the same tonal burn, you need to clean your tip. So just wipe down in a little bit of that white a couple of times and then get a clean area, wipe that off, and your tip should be good to go. If you haven't cleaned your tips in a while, you're going to have to probably go a little bit longer than that. But I do keep my tips clean, so makes things a lot easier. So let's get started. 2.5, 18 small, and I think we'll go over here. I'm gonna get us situated. There we go. I've got it a little bit angled, that way we can see kind of how I've got my tip touching the wood. Because I am right-handed, I tend to roll my tip to the left, but there are plenty of times I use the right. Make sure we're on screen. So these right here are shorter feathers. They're at the top of the wing, but they're smooth. They're not, well, there's a couple, looks like, that are a little, I don't want to say raggedy, because it's not raggedy, they're just split more, whereas the rest of them are really smooth texture. So we're going to get started. So I'm going to use the top half of the tip. I'm going to move quickly. Let's see here. We've got multiple different feathers. So I'm going to just go flat and quickly drag down. I'm going to darken this, but for now I'm just blocking in some shapes. Making sure, let's see, I need a little bit of overlay, so I'm going to change the angle of this feather just a little bit so that it's coming off more in this direction. And then we do have some splitting at the top here, so I'm gonna use my edge, just roll it just a little bit, keep my same temperature setting. I can go up on the tip to get it a little darker, and then I'm going to drag flat. I'm going to leave a light spot, let's see here, right about here. I can always go back and alter it. So I'm not going to stress about it. Let's see here. To get that overlay, I'm going to darken the feather underneath a little bit. Just so they look like they're sitting on each other. Make sure. Oh, there we go. And then this feather actually comes down with this feather overlapping. So we need to make sure we get that. So I'm just on my tip, and I know these are lighter, but as soon as I burn darker around them, they will read lighter. Real quick. And we got a dark up in here separating, so I'm going to go up on the tip to make that separation. And then we've actually got a shadow right about here. It sounds like they're coming in. So if they start barking, I'm going to mute real quick, and then we can get back to it. Hopefully they'll just come in quietly and lay down. Go. Just getting this dark in to make sure it overlaps, but we're also going to leave a little bit of lighter, and we'll come in later because right here there's an overlap. I'm going to mute real quick.
Girls, relax. Calm.
No, or you're going to get kicked out.
Shush. Are we public or private?
We're public.
Okay. Shh. I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to keep moving around on the camera so they know that we're not.
She's on a rival.
That's alright. Out, guys. Out.
Sorry.
What's okay? I thought I unmuted. Hey, Joshua. I thought I unmuted. Sorry, guys. Well then, there you go. We all have our moments. So sorry. I thought I unclicked it, but I guess maybe did I actually mute when the dogs were unmute when the dogs were barking and then got quiet after they left? I could see that happening. So what I was doing was just blocking in, trying to put some darks up. But right now the main thing is shaping, because right here we've got a lot of light feathers, and for me I've only got the top. So I've only got this top here where it's shorter. Hey, Spence. So let's see here. We're going to bring this over. So I'm just on the tip, moving quickly. I'm going over the graphite, but when I go to clean the graphite off, it'll be fine. Following the shape of the feather, because these are darker on the bottom. Let's see here. Why don't we go with trying to see how I drew the pattern, because sometimes we can forget. I think I'm going to make these a little bit more like these. Let's see here. Underneath we got some more. So I'm on my edge. I'm still at 2.5. I haven't raised my heat because I'm still burning light enough that I don't need to. And I'm trying to break it up so there's no like straight lines. Don't you hate when you mess something up that you could have sworn you had control of? Oh well. So see, I'm just using the tip, just blocking that in quickly. So we have a little bit longer. So I'm actually going to go, looking at my reference, the darker part of the feather is on the right side. So I'm going to get that in. Get that in first. Just so I know what's what where. I think we'll extend that one down. Let's see here. This is this. Nope, that's another feather line. So we'll do that. I'm trying not to outline, that's why I'm doing this very quickly. It's just so I have a visual of where one feather starts and the other one ends. Let's see. Because then we're going to darken it up. So under here we've got darks going on, but let's get the lines in first. So on this part we're still on the right side of the feather. So that means the left feather is sitting on top of the right feather. That's what we're going to be separating off for. So I know it could be a little confusing because it looks like I'm outlining. And I guess on some level I am. But these are going to go darker. So if you feel more comfortable outlining, because you're newer to burning, go for it. Just work on, not doing it all the time. But also work on making it really light so it's easier to blend. Let's see. Hey, Burl. I think I got everybody. So we've got a dark up in here. So we're going to go ahead and get that in. And the feathers above it are more separated. So I'm just going to put a couple of those lines in, so I know that's what's going on. And now we can butt up and darken This is a little feather. So I'm going to kind of curl. And see how it makes the, because I'm going a little thicker, it makes the stroke a little thicker. So I'm going to bring this in. Try to follow the direction of the feathers so that the shading makes sense. And then I can always cut into the feathers above. Go. We got some. Biggest thing is making sure we get our direction right. So looking at this feather, we've got a dark edge, but it's not fully dark, so I'm going to butt up against it and just darken a little bit of it. And we'll go ahead and see, this has got a lighter line separating. Alright, we're going to work on this feather real quick. These are all brighter at the top. Josh says, I still have all my burning supplies, but I've got the razor tip. I got to get it back to you. I really need to get back into it, especially because I kind of understand the art form a bit more. That's awesome. I know it can get confusing, but now that you're an adult and you can just play, I think it'd be the best time for you to get into it. Alright, let's drag it down in the direction of the feather. This feather is coming down, so we want to drag down. And see, because I'm using the top half of the tip, it's smoother drag. We can have some variation in tone, but it's going to be lighter at the top, and as it curls down to follow the direction of the wing, it's going to get darker at the bottom. And remember, I got to put more information in or it's not going to look right. You see here, we've got this feather, and I curled a little to the right just to get a darker burn, but now I'm going to drag from the top and see how this is smoother than what we were doing here. And I can make it where it's not so uniform. In fact, I like this better, so it doesn't look as uniform. And then I can turn this so we can darken the feather underneath. And just barely touching with the tip. Darken down here a little bit more. Let's come over to this bigger feather. We're going to drag, because the feather does, looking at the texture and the direction, it curves. So we want that curve. And then we want it darker on the edge. So I'm going to just moving they're micro movements. They really are. They're so little, but they do so much. Drag this down. The slower I go, the darker it'll get. So it's just. Then we have this little piece that is laying. This is also a feather, but it's laying behind this one. So I'm gonna cut underneath, barely touching. And we'll drag. Do the same thing here. And I'm not trying to make a full line, just enough to express what's going on. And right here with these little ones, I'm going to again darken. And see, just by adding a little bit more dark, our value changes again. Let's see here, what's this one doing? This is actually a longer. I'll go a bit light with that. I just moved quickly. Again, up against where it overlays this feather. And then we can come in and drag again. And because the raven is different versions of black, Josh said he definitely didn't understand or have the patience required. Yep. Patience is our #1 life lesson, I think, with burning. Alright, this one turns, so let's get the turn. And I'm not trying to do a full line because then it looks outlined and we don't want it to look outlined. It's gonna have a bit of that feeling, but we don't want to make it obvious. And see, now that I've put feathers in, we can see this needs to go darker. And that's really how quick it is. Let's drag this one down with just the tip. And then I will go find a darker feather, or a bigger feather we can focus on more. Let's take off some graphite. This is a Vanish 4-in-1 eraser. I do have that linked through Amazon. I love these erasers. If you want to see, that's what the box looks like. Alright. So remember, I put my pen down, so now I have to keep that in consideration. When I touch down, drag again. We're going to make some of this darker. And we've got a shadow right here. It kind of straightens out here. And then it goes more into. And since this is underneath, we're going to drag from the dark line up. Again, going with the direction of the feather. If you can go with the direction of a feather, the more you do that, the more realistic it's going to look. Let's bring this one around. And then, what is this? I'm actually going to go flat and put some shadow in around. Then we can go back and darken this feather, or these feathers, up underneath. I guess I can up my camera a little bit. Yep, Josh, it is when I'm having public lives. Yep, this is the normal time. And even when I do members only, it's still the normal time. Alright, so that's still going to go darker, but we got it in there. So let's pick a feather over here. Again, because I don't have enough here. So I'm going to pick a longer one. Let's see here. Let's go with this one. Yeah, we'll do this one. This one has a curl at the bottom. Actually, this is the one with the curl at the bottom. So we'll go with this one first. So in the middle is where they have their stem, just like a leaf. So I'm going to turn my board because it comes out dark. So I'm on the top half of my tip and I'm flat. Moving quickly and dragging it out. Trying to get a bit of a curve so that it rolls. This is a small area, so that can be a little harder to do. Bring the feather down. Get some darker strokes coming down. Let's see here. Looks like it turns about here, and then we also need to do it a bit. Maybe we'll leave a little thin area for the lighter part of the feather. You can see because it's a thicker stroke that I'm more flat. And then we're going to bring it together. So that the strokes are coming down more. And then we do have a shadow underneath this feather. It's a thicker stroke. Again, just up on the tip. Trying not to make a straight line because that does kind of make it feel outlined. Bring it up here, and let's see here. We actually have a separation, so I'm going to bring this over. I know I already burned a bit of a line in there, but it's light enough that I don't need to do anything. So this side of our feather is lighter, so we'll just go real quick. In fact, we can just do a bit of oval because the oval also helps to smooth it out. And then we have some darker on this side. Again, just up on the tip. I think I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. You see how I'm not being exact? I'm almost kind of scrambling around. We'll get this in real quick because we do have a shadow. I gotta remember to look at. Yeah, I think that's my favorite part too, Spence, when it starts looking 3D. Because then I know I've been doing it right. I'm going to get this little one in. I know it has a little bit more shape, but I'm not going to stress over it. Let's see here. Got some more dark in here, some up on the tip. I'm just trying to shape on the other side of this feather so I can go ahead and erase. Remember, our lights and darks really do shape. Gives us the shape we're looking for. We'll put this one in real quick and then we'll erase, so that we can see what's going on. So this one is to the right of it's right about there. There we go. Yeah, what looks like a bit of an overlap at the top. I can just, excuse me, freehand that one in. And I put, this is actually 2 longer feathers. So I'm gonna use just the tip There we go. Just using shading. And I can use the edge like we did last week to get some shapes in there. Let's see here. Which way is this going? Because normally it comes out away from the middle, but this is actually two different feathers. And there's a light edge right there, so that's why I did that stroke. Let's see here. So this looks like it's actually curving in from the edge. So now I'm rolling over and using the top right edge. And then I can do some overlapping. So up here, I think I'm going to actually smooth this feather out more, and because I'm the artist, I can make that choice. Isn't that the fun part? Changing some stuff up so that it reads a little bit better, because sometimes a photograph just doesn't read well enough. I'm up on my tip and I'm just small circles in between here to darken up the shadow. Go, but in a smaller area. Because even when there's darks, there's some feathers in there. So I can have little minute differences in the shading. There we go. And just by doing this, we've added a couple of feathers in the shadow, which that's what they are. We're going to come down here and darken this line. And I think we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a bit of sectioning off. And darken. And I'm just making little minor strokes so that it's not harsh. Let's see. Bring that up a little bit, but not fully connect. Bring some shadow out. Do the same thing on this side. You can see how I'm going back and forth to form a feather. I'm going to drag out this dark a little bit so it looks more realistic. Then we can also darken the edge because it is curling. So the edge is going to be a little darker. I'm going to darken this a bit too, because none of these are white. They're just, some of them are lighter, but how they're getting hit by the sun is what changes what we see. Alright, so we'll come back over here, and we do have a shadow that is, let's see here. So we've got a line right here. Put that in real quick, and then we've got a shadow. Again, just tapping and dragging down. This is a whole different feather up here. We'll bring this down. We'll darken underneath in a few places, because we've got feathers now that are changing direction. But let's get this one in. So looking at these, the darkness is more on the left side. blend out. I'm just moving the tip really quick. See this feather, the shape's a little off, so I'm trying to see where I can make some adjustment. Again, just blocking it in. It's a mess, but as I put darks around, I'll shape it. So I'm not going to stress about it. I think we'll put this one underneath. And see how that brought this feather out in the middle? Let's see here. So Josh says, I think I may look into some sort of art basic classes or something to learn the basics like shading and stuff like that to get a better understanding. To me, it's kind of feels like a person who doesn't know how to swim trying to... I understand that feeling. And I do have some basics, but I think what you're talking about is like a basic drawing class with a pencil. And there's multiple good ones here on YouTube. Or if you do better of in person where somebody's there with you so you know, can ask the real-time questions. Absolutely. Learning is fun. Go for it. I think that's a really good idea. It's not an absolute have to, but I think it's always good to learn different techniques and get different perspective. We all teach differently, and sometimes it's easier to hear from multiple people, as long as they're saying the basic same thing and not confusing you. Alright, so let's go. We have a dark shadow right here, and that's what shapes the top feather. So we're going to get that in. I'm just right up on the tip. Now I'm getting some edge streaks in there. And that's just to do some separating. Let's see here. They're about the same length. So I'll darken this. We've got a lot of things going in different directions. So I'm on the tip and I'm barely touching the wood, and I'm just trying to move quickly to get this shadow in on this side. Bring it down. You see now it has shaped this side. And in fact, we need to get a bit more dark. Back on screen, I'm sure I was off. We're going to darken this area. If I slow down, I should be able to get some pretty good layered darks without adjusting my heat. So from last week's live to today, or yesterday, I spent another hour and a half burning, blocking in what you guys saw at the beginning. I'm trying not to go too far in advance. At the same time, I want you guys to see it more done, or more blocked in the hopes that it helps make things more clear. Let's see here, we got a bit of feather coming off right here. So I'm just on the edge, and I'm only doing the one side, not both. That way, again, it doesn't look outlined. You see, I'm using the dark right here to help shape it. And this feather comes up like this. And just right on the tip. But now we've changed the shape. And curl it in a little bit more. And then bring this line out into this feather so it doesn't stand out by itself. Let's see here. This feather does go darker here, so I'm going to go flat and just darken it a little bit. There we go. Then again, back up underneath. Let's see here, what did I do here? I'm flat and just quickly dragging. Giving me that room to adjust. Let's see here. We'll drag some darks down into here so the line's not so obvious. See, that already looks like a feather. Might be a little off on shape, but I'm okay with that. As long as it looks like a feather. So here we can start darkening this one up. So again, I'm flat. I'm still on the 2.5. Kind of dragging with the grain because that's how the feather's going. If you notice, I'm not trying to make it all the same tonal value because then we kind of lose what we're going for. We want these to look different. Let's see here. I need to look up in my sepia photo. So now I can darken here. And see what I mean by going back and forth, back and forth? Let me pull out the camera. Oh, bye, Spence. Let's pull out the camera, see how we're looking. I know my reference photo is pretty big. Come on. Work with me. Here we go. I'll move it up. There we go. See, the feathers are starting to come along. It's gonna be a mess. Oh, so David is colorblind. He feels that helped him a lot with seeing shading. You're probably absolutely right because you can't see the color. All you see is, I don't know if you see gray in place of the color. But yeah, I can definitely see how that would be very helpful because then you're not getting distracted by that color. And I know that can be hard. Let's see here. Let's find another smooth, long. Alright. Let's see here. That's the overlap up there. I'm just trying to look again because I'm cropped in. So we have a shadow right here. A pretty hard shadow. Right here. So I'm on the flat left. I guess we can go closer. I moved away. Let's see, where were we? Here we go. And this is, yeah, this is a pretty deep shadow. Again, we've got a feather inside, but we can actually shape this with just the tip. Bring some dark up into here. Bring our shadow down. That's going to have to go much darker because this is a darker shadow. It also shapes the feather. But for now, let's see here. This feather splays, the top half splays out like this. So I'm rolling up on my edge, my left edge. And then we've got a dark right here. We're going to go flat and drag. Bring that variation of tone into that feather. And then it comes down a bit. It does have some dark separation in between the feathers. Trying not to make it exact. So this looks like it's splayed. And just on the tip, little oval strokes to help shape this feather a little bit more. That can go up on our edge along here. Give it some texture. Bring this down. There we go. Sorry, lost my bearings for a second. Then we can use this dark even more to shape. Just gotta make sure. Go. It still needs to go darker and whiter. Bring this feather out. So roll way back over here. Again, if I get a little off on the feather, as long as it looks like a feather, then it's not off. So I need to darken here. So right now I'm flat. Again, still just on 2.5. Shape this so it's not so, I mean it is straight up and down, but not as much as what I've got mine doing. You see how the dark starts shaping the feathers? Need to break up some of this lighter around that. It's okay if this one's not as curved as it should be. I'm not going to stress about it. Pull out from the shadow. There we go. And we can actually almost scribble There we go. I just wanted to shape that a little bit more. I am burning on basswood. I got it linked in the description. This is the basswood I use the most. It's easier to cut. And I know he had a Labor Day sale yesterday, but I don't know if it's still going on. If not, I do have a code. I don't get paid for linking to the basswood. I get the same discount you guys do, the 10% off. And this one is 1/8 of an inch thick. Alright, we need to find some place I can put a dark in, so we can start seeing this come alive. We need these darks. So just by putting a little bit of dark on either side of this feather, it popped this feather out. Let's see here. Got some darks coming up into here. And this will be part of the final detail next week. I'll keep going back and forth and putting in these feathers. Let's see here. I think we have some more dark over here, so we can do that. That one's laying down this way. These come this way. So it looks like the dark is right here. So I'm up on the tip, going right up against my graphite line. And drag down the shadow. And I can go flat to better shape. There we go. And remember, the further you get away from whatever is overlapping, the lighter the shadow gets. I'm going to darken right up against. Because this has got a pretty big, let's see here, it cuts in here. I can go flat, drag in the direction of the feather, whereas, because this feather's coming out from underneath here, and it's going this way. I'm going to leave a little light area. Now I need to kind of build out a gradient. So I'm trying to break up this dark that I just did. And blend it out. And again, the more I put in, so like right here, I'm still on camera. Hubcap definitely keeps me on camera most lives. So we've got a dark right here, and this feather is curving. So I'm going to actually go over my shadow a little bit because it is darker along this edge. There we go. I'm going to go flat and drag quickly. And then I can go back and adjust. Got some dark there. Tap in some dark here. Underneath, it's lighter. Let's see here. This feather actually kind of comes out like this. Alright. Now we've got this feather overlaying. So I'm not going all the way around the feather. I'm just bringing in some shadow from the side. Do I cover mixed media topics like your manatee? Have we done any adding color membership? I have to actually go back and look. There's so many videos. Did we do? I think we've done some color. Yeah. I'd have to think about what it was. Burl, basswood. I would prefer going to basswood first just because it burns quicker. But yeah, I do go back and forth as well. But especially for anybody new to burning, I highly recommend basswood first. And it sucks that Walnut Hollow went out of business for those bigger plaques, but at least we still have some options. Alright, we're here. This is a lighter feather. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for the supers to chime in about color lives. I'm almost positive we have. It would be weird for us not to. Drag that. So I'm going to pull this shadow up into this feather a little bit. See, still go darker underneath, but see how I could adjust? Without even changing my temperature? All about hand control. Shaders to me are better for obviously shading. Don't know where my brain was going with that. Let's see here. So what do we got going on right here? Because we do have shadow going on. Some of these are more edge feathers. There we go. Together. See, some things are just so close together that if you're a little off, it's totally fine. Let's see here. This is a dark here, and we don't see a whole lot of the feather. So I'm going to go up on the tip, a little on the right edge. Down. And we also have this one. And see, I can keep going back and forth, making those adjustments. This is all going to go darker. So again, just up on the tip, going right up against the feather. Bring some darker over the feather. Let's soften that in shadow just a little bit. Let's see here. The bear was one. In color? Haven't you done watercolor pencils, felt type pens, Prismacolor, pencil crayons, and others? Watercolor pencils. I've tested a lot of color. Trying to think. I tend to go with watercolor pencils the most. Yeah, I'll have to look at the list. I've got so many videos. I'm over 500 videos. So it gets kind of hard to remember what you've done, what you haven't done. I know I've got other color media I want to test. I just haven't gotten to them yet. So I'm going to call it done for the long feathers. I'll keep blocking those in. Definitely got to make them darker. Let's see here. I'm going to prop this up so we can see it. Pull it back a little better. See, as I pull away, and you guys are looking at it more the way it is in real life, although smaller. Let me pop this reference off. There we go. We can definitely see how it needs to go darker. I'm trying to just move some stuff. There we go. There we go. Yeah, see, this is much bigger than what's showing on camera. Size-wise, it's only a 5x7, but size-wise, it's about that big ish. That's about right. But sorry, I'm not trying to make anybody dizzy. We need to look at it a little bit smaller. I'm going to turn this light off, I think. There we go. We can definitely see how much this needs to darken up so that these go lighter. Once they're all blocked in, I got a little bit more area here. Same with these. Once I get these in, all this is going to go darker. This is going to go darker. I still need to work. Every time I work, though I'm not doing it right this second, I've been working on darkening the beak, because the more information we put in, the more adjustments we need to make. So next week, everything will be blocked in, and we are going to work on getting our tone right. Let me put up. Let me see if I got no. I'm looking to see if I got a sepia version. No, we'll leave it at that. We will leave it at that. Although, I can make this a little bit bigger, so it matches. Wait. There we go. That's about. You can also see how much feathers that I've cut off of my reference compared to what the pattern is. I need to make sure I pay attention and curve these down, because now we're getting into the chest and these feathers need to go more this way. I was just putting in the dark separations right here just so I knew where they were at. So that's what's going on there. Plus here, but we can really see how much darker. There we go. Where darker needs to come in. Again, once I've got everything blocked in, I need to curve this a little bit. So it's viewed. The feathers are laying down in angles like this, almost like armor. So I need to work on getting that curve. Looking at the reference, I think beak feather, I'm like the closest it needs to be. This does need to go darker. I could put a few more darks in here just to shape and give it a little bit more dynamic. Let's see if I can. I'm going to adjust the contrast on the screen so we can see. I think I'm going to go about this dark in the darks. I'm trying to see how much I can adjust. If I look just at the lighter feathers over here, I'll probably go about that dark. The darks aren't going to go that dark. The darks are going to be probably right about there. But I'm just messing with it so you can see, get an idea about where we're going to go next week. But so next week all this will be blocked in. And there'll be areas that I'll still continue to adjust, but I will leave enough room for us to work next week. And yeah, I am feeling better about this raven. It should be my best raven by the time I'm done. That is my goal. That's what I want it to do. And I'm just looking. Thank you, Andrea. Wait, just looking to see if there's any last questions. Hubcap should be in with us next week. He had a doctor's appointment this morning, so that's why he came in late. And then the dogs wouldn't like chill and all that. Don't forget to hit the like button. And comment on the replay if you're watching on the replay, even if it's just to say hi. Throw a flame or a heart in there. Next week we will do the adjustments. And if you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to become a member, you can either hit join down by the channel name or in the link. I have a Ko-fi account as well. If you don't want to have your money go with YouTube, you can do Ko-fi. They do all the processing. I don't see any of your information. Although on Ko-fi I do get your address, but I don't get any of your payment information. And I don't want it. And if somebody needs some help, please feel free to share the video. Any little interaction helps the channel. Now say it with me. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist. Oops, the raven's in the way. Happy burning, guys. See you next week. Bye.